am I supposed to be okay with this? We're not getting real information anymore, folks, because we're being programmed and taught what to think. And if your language goes outside those party lines and you violate political correctness, then death to you and your family name be damned. You can't have a future. You can't have a livelihood. You're ruined. You're off the map. There's a difference between being afraid to think in a certain way and being unwilling to think in a certain way. I want you to take the idea of political correctness and this idea that you have to speak what you're allowed to speak, and I want you to flush it down the toilet. Socially and even legally enforced political correctness. Folks, that's what's coming. That's what's here. It's happening in parts of the world already. But it's about to start hitting you hard. I want to get into that and more today on this episode of the Chad Prather Show. Right now, if you'll head over to prathertees.com. We're closing out because I'm moving stuff out, folks. I'm taking it to a whole other distribution center. So I got a deal for you. You can use promo code CHAD30 and get 30% off everything you buy. I mean, that's boom. All right, that's clearing it out. Okay, I got to get rid of it. Got to get rid of it, prathertees.com. Shy is at the helm. As you can hear in my voice, the Wuhan, the lab has settled down on me. It's a cold. It's a cold, people. Last week, CJ said she was sick, and she said, I'm convinced I have COVID. And I said, you don't have COVID, you have a cold. And take a little zinc. 3 days, you'll be over it. She was over it in like 36 hours. But the lasting effects, now I have a cold. So, which is nothing more than I feel fine. It's just miserable, Shy. I just want to sneeze all the dadgum time. I want to know if you heard about this story. Lexington, North Carolina. This is where we're headed. This is what's scary. Young man, 16 years old, Christian McGee. He's a student at Central Davidson High School. This is North Carolina, folks. This isn't California. This is not New York. This isn't Illinois. Which, if you know enough about North Carolina's got its pretty active progressive spots over there, too. Just visit the lovely folks of Antifa over in beautiful Asheville, North Carolina. You'll see what I'm talking about. The administration of the high school determined that Christian's words were, quote, offensive and disrespectful to classmates who are Hispanic. What were the words? What did Christian say? He was suspended for 3 days after using the term during a vocabulary assignment in English class. The term was illegal alien. He used the term illegal alien in an English assignment. Let me break it down for you, folks. If someone's illegal, if they're here illegally, then that is illegal. The word alien, from the Latin alias, it means to be from another place, okay? It's not from here. So what Christian McGee there in Lexington, North Carolina, what he said is grammatically accurate. It is etymologically etiquette. He did it right. He used the right term. But he said it could be offensive to Hispanics, his Hispanic classmates. Now you say, well, okay, he got a 3-day suspension. That's bad. But this is the kind of thing that'll follow you, because now that's on your record. And once that's on your record, it can actually tarnish your attempts to try to get into a college. Which, listen, Christian, if you should happen to see this episode of the Chad Prather Show, don't go to college. Just skip it. Just skip it. I mean, unless you're wanting to be, a doctor or something that really requires a higher education degree, an engineer, something like that. If you know why you're going, but still, that's beside the point. I'm being a little bit facetious and tongue-in-cheek here. This is a sad situation because this could tarnish this kid's record for years to come. Not a good deal for using the term illegal alien. Let me look over here for a minute, Shy. One of the things that I hate so much about the way the brains of our world are shifting. Just our collective consciousness. It's shifting towards what I referred to earlier, socially and even legally enforced political correctness. I think political correctness is straight out of the pit of hell. I think people should be able to say what they want to say. They should be able to think how they want to think, throw caution to the wind. We should be critical thinkers enough to know if somebody's a moron, somebody needs mental help, somebody belongs in an institution, somebody is criminal. I should be enough of a mature adult to know that if a person is saying something that's just stupid, asinine, or even dangerous, to marginalize that person to the point where it says, I don't want to have to listen to that person. They're illogical, they're irrational, and I don't have to put up with it. But now, they expect you to be stupid. Who's they? Well, pick the tyrannies. It could be, the courts. It could be the schools. It could be the media. It could be your government officials. It could be bureaucrats. It could be the medical community. It could be corporate America. Whoever they are, the people that we bow down to with our time and our dollars. Those are the people who want to make sure that you remain stupid and they will be the brains for you. So they're trying to push you more towards political correctness. That way nobody like Christian McGee says anything in an English assignment like illegal alien that might hurt somebody's feelings. It might hurt their feelings. I promise you, I know plenty of Hispanic people who have no problem with the term illegal alien. In fact, they themselves are a little bit miffed about what's going on at the American southern border as well. But here's the thing, this legally enforced political correctness, and it's coming. See, the limiting principle mutes the goodness of those who actively seek to be good to others on their own choice, in their own volition. So what happens is it turns into a redundancy while simultaneously missing the rhetorical forest for the trees. The landscape of our communication with one another is characterized by increasingly fewer little green scrub brushes of genuine critical thought about and concern for our fellow man because the ground all around it is choked with the weeds of social conformity. So in other words, I was talking to Stu Peters on his show about this. If I want to transfer an idea from my brain and try to put it into your brain, I have to use words. Sometimes there are limitations to the words that are used. Sometimes we don't convey our ideas absolutely the best way that we possibly could. But again, who's the judge of that? Who's the judge of that? Is Google? Is YouTube? I mean, the fact that we've lived now with 2 different strikes on the YouTube account for 3 years over some so-called medical information. They have never told me what that medical misinformation was, but yet 368,000 subscribers to my YouTube channel. And just the other night, there were 18 people watching a live premiere. Shai, I don't know if you know this or not. I did the math on that. That's 0.00034% of the followers. I'm a gun guy. I love my firearms. I love stockpiling my ammunition. I've got all the stuff out there, but sometimes you run into some things that are a little bit hard to find. That's when I turn to my good buddies over at UnitedPatriotSupply.com. They're not only my friends, they're partners with this show, and I'm proud to know them because they deliver. And let me tell you, when I say they deliver, if there's stuff out there you're looking for and you're having a hard time finding it, I guarantee you there's a very good chance they're going to have what you're looking for. So go out there and check them out, UnitedPatriotSupply.com. Right now, they got a deal going. When you buy a firearm, you can get up to 5 ounces of free silver with every order. So they got a silver incentive program because United Patriot Supply, they're also United Patriot Coin, and you've heard us talk about them as well. So you buy a firearm, you get silver with it. You get a free ounce of silver for every $500 you spend on guns. That's up to 5 free ounces. So you buy a $2,500 gun, guess what? You're going to get 5 pieces of silver. That's a pretty cool deal. So check it out. It's a combined promotion between United Patriot Supply and United Patriot Coin. And just get over there and get to know those guys. I tell you, you're going to love them, and they're going to be a regular stop and shop for you. So head over to UnitedPatriotSupply.com. I mean, every one of us has said something we regret. If you're married, God knows you have. But what do? You learn from it and you move on. I'm not going to put, my significant other in timeout for 3 years because, in my opinion, she misspoke. So, why is it that people have gotten to the point where they're so cautious about what we say in public discourse. Like I was talking about the T-shirts earlier, Shai. I want to come out with a T-shirt that says taxes are gay. I think that's a seller, man. It's not an original idea. I saw somebody else wearing that shirt. It was on the back of their shirt. I'm like, I want a shirt that says taxes are gay. And just see how many people get pissed off. Because to me, that's my sense of humor. Like, I just think that's funny. It's not a slight on gay people. It's a slight on taxes. I don't like it. But listen, if I want to go stand at the water cooler in the office, or if I want to stand on stage in front of a crowd, or if I want to put something on X or Instagram, I'm willing to roll that particular cup of dice and say, these are my thoughts. This is what I want to get out. Christian McGee, there in Lexington, North Carolina, when it was time for him to write his little essay, he was writing on a topic that needed the words illegal alien. He used them, and now he got penalized. Could follow him for quite some time. Now, I understand that you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, or you don't want to marginalize people by accident. I mean, sometimes I do it on purpose because it's fun. It's funny. It's okay. But, we basically just have this commode that's overflowing in our discourse. And, people are like, oh, my God, I'm afraid we're going to get some of the sewage on us. So what if you do? See, the truth is, I think, that it's 100% fear-driven. But not the fear that you might hurt somebody else's feelings. Rather, it's fear that someone else might hurt you. See, we're all in this position to be canceled in one form or another, whether it's getting demonetized on social media or demonized in the press or even being just ostracized by our peers. Our heads are all potentially on the chopping block at any given moment. So if I choose to accept this shifting snake of a paradigm, does going over everything in my head with a fine-tooth comb before I allow it to flap through my lips constitute being a good person in any real sense? No, I'm just conforming. I'm conforming to wokeism, an analog for even a good replacement of my natural tendency to actually desire not to hurt other people. See, I don't want to hurt other people, but it's like Southern hospitality. I've always said Southern hospitality, people will be real nice to you in the South, but that don't mean they mean it. They don't mean it. Our please and yes ma'am and thank you and all shucks and bless your heart and all that. You don't want somebody from the South saying bless your heart. It means kiss my ass. It means F off. I mean, the whole point is I want to be able to care about somebody and mean it, but I also want to be able to speak freely about something. And in speaking freely about it, if it hurts your feelings, well, tough shit. I mean, it might rub the cat the wrong way, but maybe the cat needs to, turn around. I'm sick of the status quo, especially when the status ain't nothing to quo about. I mean, how are you going to change the world? I mean, can you imagine our founding fathers nitpicking every word that came out of their mouth? I mean, they knew that with the words of their mouths back in 1773, 4, 5, and 6, they knew that the words they were putting with quill to paper, quill to parchment, was going to get them potentially hung. They were basically signing their own death sentence. That's why John Hancock, at the signing of the Declaration of Independence, came down there big and bold and right in the middle of the damn thing, just wrote it giant. He didn't want any mistake where he stood on this declaration. Big, big, big signature. So when you come in to find us, string us up, I'll be the first one you look for. That's how bold he was in his words. He knew he was signing his own death sentence. But these days, we're so busy trying to protect ourselves from words, and we've engaged in the demonic practice of political correctness, of trying to protect everybody, that we'll never change the world, we'll never fix society, we'll never change culture for the better. Because again, and I was talking to Stu Peters about this, because we were talking specifically about what's going on over at NPR. And this is going to air a little bit later, but if you remember, a few days back, there was a guy who wrote an essay. He was a journalist for NPR, National Public Radio. It should be National Partisan Radio, because now we've realized that there's not a single conservative, not a single Republican employed in the writing staff or the journalist staff there at NPR. All left-wing progressive activists over there. And you say, well, what's the problem with that? The problem is they're government supported. It's a government organization, and they're publicly funded. You can't do it that way, okay? And now the CEO, the Marr lady, who used to be the CEO of Wikipedia, is afraid of the First Amendment and has come out and been so condescending and been on Twitter X talking about how Donald Trump is a racist and trying to. You can't be the CEO of NPR and be on Twitter saying those things. You can't do it. You're publicly funded and you're driven and backed by the government. You can't do that. Hey guys, the world may be going down in flames, but it's not going to get me down. It's not going to depress me. Nope, absolutely not. It may be a complete disaster out there with all these Bidenomics and all the crazy stuff happening in our world, but it's not going to ruin my day. You know why? Because I started my day with a really good dark cup of coffee, and it was delicious. It is an America First cup of coffee from Blackout Coffee. Man, I'm so proud to partner with these guys. Their coffee is 100% American, 0% grift. Blackout Coffee is 100% committed to conservative values. They source the beans, the roasting process, the customer support and shipping. Everything they do embodies the true American spirit, the hardworking values, and they accept no compromise on taste or quality. I'm telling you something. When you see this cup sitting on this table, it is filled with Blackout Coffee. I love it so much, and maybe drinking too much of it, we'll see, but it's delicious. Listen, I want you to support small businesses across the country that have the same values you do, and Blackout Coffee is one of those companies. So I want you to check them out and see what you think. Listen, not only they're American first, they're family owned. So I want you to go to blackoutcoffee.com/Chad, and right now, if you use promo code CHAD, I spell it Chad, you're going to get 20% off your first order. That's blackoutcoffee.com/Chad. Use promo code Chad. One more time, blackoutcoffee.com/Chad. Use that promo code Chad. This guy, Ensinger, I think his name was, he came out and wrote this essay about how NPR is become just a mouthpiece for the left, radical left. And they fired him. They said, well, it was because you wrote a piece for another publication, and you're not allowed to do that. No, they fired him because he's a whistleblower, bottom line. So you know, what Stu and I were talking about is you go to Wikipedia, which is what the CEO of NPR, she was the CEO over Wikipedia. You go over there, you read my Wikipedia. I didn't write any of that stuff. I didn't write anything in my Wikipedia article. The stuff in there, I mean, they've got me. They said that when I ran for governor in 2022 that I ran on the platform of trying to secede from the Union, to remove Texas from the United States, all because a journalist came to a debate forum and that question was asked about the Texit bill that was on the docket that was sponsored by State Representative Kyle Biederman and what our thoughts on it were. And because we talked about that and that journalist heard it, wrote an article about it, and because we discussed what secession actually looks like if Texas were to proceed with something like that, with a bill like that. And so I'm a seditionist. I'm a traitor. And so you think that stuff doesn't get thrown back in my face? I should have the ability to talk about whatever time. It was a bill in the Texas State House of Representatives, for crying out loud. I should be able to talk about it in a public forum. But no, now I'm labeled as that. Well, I mean, that's misinformation. Is anybody going to go to Anthony Fauci's Wikipedia? Is anybody written out that he has now come out and said that the blah blah, the vaccine, the thing you stick in your arm, actually has some not comorbidities, it actually has some hazards when connected to young men who take it? He come out and said that. He said, well, we're seeing there's some issues that are there when it comes to young men and the vaccine. Some dangers. They're not going to put that in there. Are they going to talk about all the things they were wrong about that we know now? Things we were saying, things we got labeled for misinformation. Are they going to go into Wikipedia, on Anthony Fauci's Wikipedia page, and talk about all the things he was wrong about? They're not going to do that. Not going to do it, but they'll do it to people like you and me. So here we are. See, here's the thing. I think it's the most firmly rooted example of the staggering and deadly difference between collectivist thought, individualist thought. This is what we're dealing with. See, collectivism, big word, but, 10 cents, implies a responsibility that is out of your hands as a person. So you must simply, blow with the prevailing wind or face the consequences. I want to be an individualist. I want you to be an individualist. I want you to think as an individual. That's going to make That's going to make the little man or woman inside your head the judge, jury, and executioner for every thought you translate into words. Now, that doesn't mean that you're safe from ostracization. I mean, a certain amount of that in public interaction and discourse is necessary and good, but it means that you control it, not Big Brother. And therefore, if what you say to or around or about others is good, that good is intrinsically bound up in the spiritual collection of atoms that makes up your personality. And ditto if what you say is evil. That's why when people say, what was it Stu Peters was talking about on his show? If you go to his Wikipedia, it says he's a white nationalist, he's a racist, he's an election denier. It's like he's not any of those things. But somebody said it about him, and therefore it's applied to him. And it's like when people say, you're a bigot and you're a racist. Somebody just called me a Nazi on Facebook just this morning. I'm a Nazi. I'm a fascist wannabe. Because I did a video talking about eating steak and we made jokes about PETA? Yeah, a bigoted Nazi. Okay. Well, the thing is, nobody that knows me ever says that about me, Nobody ever knows me. But the collectivist thought is, we've got to label that person, and therefore that's who they are. So I get the desire to root out the evil in society. But you got to make sure always that you're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I mean, political correctness or enforced speech is what we really should be calling it. That commits heinous collateral damage to genuine human goodwill. I see this Christian McGee. I don't think Christian McGee, this kid in Lexington, North Carolina, I don't think he hates Hispanic people. I don't know, maybe he does. But I can't judge that on the basis of him using the words illegal alien in an essay. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. So that collateral damage, that genuine harm to people's goodwill, it doesn't solve evil. If anything, it gives evil good cause to go underground and fester. People just hide it better. And we don't need that. See, the problem here, as I see it, is that we've been taught to think of everything being a spectrum, is on a spectrum. So except for, the one thing closest to our true intentions and feelings and thoughts, other than a person's speech, you can't get any more intimately inside of his head. Language is the gateway between us as a species. And its protection is so vitally important because of that. I've tried to crawl around inside the minds of those who disagree with me on these things. And I think that if they could drill down on their side of the argument, it would, sort of be like, people who fight the encroachment of political correctness upon our discourse are doing so in bad faith. They don't like that it means they're not allowed to say certain things because those things are hateful and the person wanting to say them is hateful. But if we just remove the hateful speech, we'll eventually remove the hateful thought that perpetuates it. Okay, it's an interesting thought. The first problem with it is that it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Just because you remove the hateful speech doesn't mean you remove the hateful thought. Does that make sense to everybody? I hope so. I don't know. I'm rambling. See, there's a difference between being afraid to think in a certain way and being unwilling to think in a certain way. Now, let me repeat that to you. There's a difference between being afraid to think in a certain way and being unwilling to think in a certain way. See, that latter one, that thinking in a certain way, there's some hard-won honesty to that you can be proud of. The one before that, whether it's meant to be or by its perpetrators or not oppressive and murderous to the imagination. The second problem with all of that, if this is an accurate representation of the argument, is that it is built and proceeds upon a dangerous and surely almost always wrong-headed presupposition that the bearer of bad speech is ipso facto a human of evil intent. So if I say something bad, I must be evil. So that's why people are banned on social media platforms and fired from jobs and suspended from school for 3 days. This is why they're demonized in the press. This is why they're lied about on Wikipedia. This is why their social media accounts are shut down and throttled. Because there's no spectrum in speech in the modern world. And I don't just mean situations like the one where the guy gets fired because he used the N-word in a context other than racism, such as discussing the lyrics of a rap song with students. Oh, you got to fire this guy who used the N-word. It was in a rap song. They were discussing it. I don't know why they were discussing it, but let's say they were. That doesn't mean they were calling the person, that word. That's a simple example, but the problem runs a whole lot deeper than that. Hey guys, a lot of us are struggling to keep up with everyday bills. I mean, everything is still really expensive. If you own a home, I want you to call my friends at American Financing. That's right. They're saving their customers an average of $854 a month by tapping into their home's equity and wiping out high-interest credit card debt. $854 a month. That's like a $10,000 raise. Listen, credit card interest rates are insane, and most of us are still carrying a balance from month to month. Think about how much interest you're going to pay on that credit card if you're only paying the minimum payment every single month. American Financing never charges any upfront fees, and that's why they have over 7,200 Google reviews and a 4.7 star rating. They've helped thousands of customers save real money and put themselves into a better financial position. If you call today, you may be able to delay 2 mortgage payments, giving you great savings right up front. Call American Financing today at 888-675-4090. That's 888-675-4090 today to see what they can do for you. Stop living paycheck to paycheck. That's 888-675-4090 or visit AmericanFinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Check them out. See, it's this cheap mental magic trick whereby we hypnotize our own brain and then re-hypnotize it, and it's really pretty scary. Somebody gets called out for something they've said, and the first layer is that we assume far more about their character in a quick camera flash of false intuition that we could accurately assess even if that person had said it and meant the bad thing it supposedly implied. Now, maybe that intuition ends up being right. There's some shitheads out there, but it doesn't deserve to be that way. It's a coin toss. Then when the person apologizes and goes through the proper amount of verbal self-flagellation and they go on a whole apology tour, which we actually, correctly do not believe, because as the thesis of, what we're saying here is the person's almost certainly acting out of fear. He's not afraid because he's not apologetic because he said it. He's apologetic because he got caught saying it. And he don't want to get canceled. So there's no room for genuine emotion of guilt to squeeze in. It's sort of like, the Salem witch trials. You put these people on trial, and then you bind their hands and throw them in the water. And if they float, they're a witch, and we're going to burn them or hang them. But if they sink, well, they were innocent. But they're dead anyway. They drown. So we tell ourselves that the reason we don't believe that that person is genuine is because they really did mean the thing they said in a bad way, that we took it, instead of realizing that we've cowed this person into a rhetorically servility. The only way to accurately assess what he really thinks would be to give him a little space to breathe and dialogue, but we just, lunge forward with teeth bared and cut their throats. And the icing on the cake, we pat ourselves on the back when we're done because we're rooting out racists and hate mongers, don't you know? This poor kid in North Carolina. I know I'm rambling on about this stuff, but this idea of collectivist thought and thought police out there, it frustrates the ever-living mess out of me, dude, because I want to be able to come on here and have a transference of ideas. I want to come on here and be able to talk about different things that are going on in our lives. We're dealing with stuff. We don't have all the answers. I've told you over and over again, that's why conspiracy theories exist. Conspiracy theories exist because we are given just so much information, and then there's a void left. And our brains, we don't believe in the void, man. There's no such thing in nature as a vacuum. There's always something that rushes to fill it. There's no natural vacuum. So when the media is telling you a story and then they stop, for instance, the little baggie of cocaine at the White House back in July. Remember that? And they said, we found a little baggie of cocaine. We're not going to tell you what it was, where it was, whose it was. The cameras were off in that spot. And we go, bullshit, BS. That's not true. We know whose it was. And now we're curious. You could have just not told us. Like I'm sure the Biden family, Ashley, Hunter, all of them, I'm sure they've done a little cocaine at the White House. I'm sure it ain't the first family that's ever done cocaine in the White House. I don't know. Maybe James Madison, maybe Andrew Jackson was doing rails, in the White House. I don't know. Maybe Grover Cleveland was out there getting smashed. I don't know what they do. I don't know what they did. But you know what? We could have just been left without that information at all. But no, they told us they found a little baggie of cocaine. And then they want to tell us any more about it. Because they said, you're stupid. You're too stupid to handle this information. The cameras were off. Well, that's an easy excuse. Cameras don't point to that spot. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. It's the most surveilled piece of real estate on the globe. And then we pushed back. We started filling in the speculations. Looks like Hunter brought a baggie to the White House 4th of July party. I guess there was a little baggie. Hunter brought it, left it in his cubby, left it in the locker. They said, okay, well, we'll tell you this. We don't know exactly whose it is, but we can ascertain that it's somebody in the Biden inner circle. And I've made the joke over and over again. Well, if only we had a laptop with a couple of hard drives that had videos of a dude doing blow off of a stripper's ass like Hunter. Oh, maybe we could put 2 and 2 together. But they want to believe that you're stupid. And so that's where the conspiracy theories come from. They don't believe you can handle the information. That collective thought, we're going to tell you what to believe. The NPRs of the world, the New York Times of the world, are going to write these pieces that have no objective journalistic objectivity. Zero. You know exactly which side the author comes down on it when you're done reading. So we're not getting information. We're not getting real information anymore, folks, because we're being programmed and taught what to think. And if your language goes outside those party lines and you violate political correctness, then death to you and your family name be damned. You can't have a future. You can't have a livelihood. You're ruined. You're off the map. Forget it. I mean, you can go get a job at McDonald's out in California. They're paying $20 an hour. And now McDonald's in California is going out of business. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with that story. CNBC did a great story. This is a side note. CNBC actually did a great story. They tried to laugh it off, but nope. The stocks on fast food companies in California, because of what they're doing in California, are tanking because of this whole minimum wage thing. And now all of those restaurants are now looking into automation. It's almost like us conspiracy theorists predicted the future, and everybody said, you can't say that. You're just trying to keep people impoverished and keep people poor and down. You're against the minimum wage getting higher to a living wage. Yeah. See, we got penalized because we violated political correctness and said you can't raise the minimum wage to $20 an hour without there being some ramifications and consequences that are going to be dismal. And people get pissed at us. You're just a bigot trying to keep people poor. You're a straight white male. You're public enemy number one. And even worse, you wear a cowboy hat and own a dog. Drive a pickup truck, diesel fuel, burning up the ozone layer. How dare you? You're a Trumpy. You're a maggot. Okay. No, I was actually giving you some critical thought. But the critical thought, which is basic economics, is considered hate speech and politically incorrect because it goes against the collectivist thought. If I tell you, as we did the other day, that when a boy puts on a girl's outfit and goes to the track meet and beats the biological girls by 100 yards in the race, he had a little bit of an advantage there. A little bit of an advantage. You just hate people. Let's just peruse for 1 second. Humor me for a second. I'm not scared of dead air shy. Let's just peruse this for a second. So I'm going to turn the volume down on this phone. Here's a comment on my Facebook. This was under the one where I did where I put the post out about what was our Ukrainian friend Pablo. Kolavenko. Got to bring that character back. Said, you're just a Putin ass kisser. Why do you hate America so much? Why do you hate freedom? We did a funny sketch about a Ukrainian mafia member shaking people down for more money. But again, that doesn't go according to the political correct view, does it? Here's a guy right here says, I already alluded to this one earlier. It says, you're just trying to be a fascist. This was a video about eating meat. Oh my gosh. But again, I said something the other day about an LPGA golfer who's a guy who won the golf event, qualified for a pro women's event. The only thing different between that guy and the girls Well, he was a guy, but the only thing he did even try to act like he was a female was he painted his nails. He was clearly a freaking guy, beat the hell out of the girls in a golf match, and they were all sitting there posing with him and his trophy. What the hell? What are you girls doing? Why are you getting in the pool with these clowns? The only thing different was his painted nails and he had extra balls in the bag. The dude was playing with an extra club. But, if I talk about stuff like that, that doesn't fit the collective. That doesn't fit the politically correct narrative. And therefore, I'm a hate-filled, narrow-minded bigot. The world is progressing. Well, let me off. Because I don't want to be in a place where dudes are kicking the crap out of girls and everybody's getting on the podium with their silver, gold, and bronze medals and their little trophies and applauding it. I don't think that's right. And so for me to say that, you wouldn't think would be not only not controversial, you would think that it wouldn't be even that risky to say it. Like, hey, the dude's got a penis. A guy goes into a Planet Fitness. Let's tell you how oppressed certain people are out there, okay? Guy goes into a Planet Fitness, goes into the girls' locker room, girls' restroom locker room, approaches a 17-year-old girl, hands her a bottle of lotion, strips down naked, drops the towel, whatever, and asks her to rub lotion on his body. Am I supposed to be okay with this? I mean, that doesn't sound like he's oppressed to me. There were no ramifications. No, I mean, Planet Fitness is down with it. They're okay with that kind of stuff. That's why their membership has dropped to the point where they're going to end up going bankrupt. Bud Light the hell out of them. Because, you narrow-minded, you couldn't handle the little bit of LGBT on a Bud Light beer can. Yeah, well, we just got tired of you shoving shit down our throat. So we were like, you know what? There's better beer out there. So we're not going to drink Bud Light. And I don't care if Kid Rock or Dana White or Donald Trump or the Lord himself comes down and says they endorse Bud Light. For me, that was a watershed moment. I said, I'm not drinking Bud Light anymore. I'm done with it. I don't care what these guys, listen, they're going to pay, I don't know, $100 million to Dana White in the UFC, and he's going to be they're going to let Bud Light endorse it again, and they're going to come out and say, oh yeah, listen, it's a great brand. Historically, maybe it was, but I don't really care enough. I don't really care enough to be won back over on this issue. There's better beer, and I really don't drink beer anyway, so screw it. So I'm not going to have these talking heads who now have hundreds of millions, tens of millions of dollars of skin in the game who are going to now tell me that I should just forget the fact that a major company out there, a traditionally American landmark company, that's in the psyche of all human beings that have lived in this country, for the last several generations, like Anheuser-Busch and Budweiser. All they did was just put somebody on a can, and it was just a gift can for that person. No, they had an agenda. We know they had an agenda, and we weren't down with that. Because it represents something so much bigger. It represents the dudes getting on the golf course or getting on the track or getting in the pool or getting in the locker room with other girls, going in the bathroom. Remember the other story in Virginia where the boy goes into the high school girls and he rapes the girl? Yeah, the more you continue to play these games, and we're supposed to just embrace the collective thought and be politically correct, the more people get hurt. And guess what? There'll be people who get hurt this week because someone crossed the border illegally. Crime will be committed somewhere in America, and in many cases, rape or violent crime, because of someone who should not be in this country but has been allowed to come here because of a federal policy. Somebody's going to get hurt. Oh, I'm a narrow-minded xenophobe. I don't like illegals, or I don't like foreigners. I don't like people with a different skin color than me. You're talking to the dude that spent 15, 20 years in Nigeria, for crying out loud. I've been everywhere in Central and South America. Spent months at a time. Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Nicaragua. Literally have children in Nicaragua that I support every single month. Get on an airplane, fly down, and take them gifts at Christmas. And I'm a xenophobe? Really? I'm the racist? No. I'm the critical thinker that says some things shouldn't be done. And that doesn't mean that inherently I have hate in my heart. I'm just telling you there's a right and there's a wrong. But in this pluralistic, postmodern, weird-ass society where you can get your truth and my truth and there's no objective truth and everything is relative, well, if someone deems me filled with hate because I say something is wrong or something is right, then I have to suffer the consequences of all of that. There's a word for it. I'm going to say it again. I said it the other day. It's a compound word. Bullshit. Two nouns, you put them together. Bullshit. All right? Put that on my Wikipedia page. I'm just saying. I don't get it. Taxes are gay. Taxes are bullshit. Compound word. I'm thinking of t-shirt ideas right now, Shy. Chad30 at prathertees.com. And then you got the media. I mean, can you imagine what a wonderful world it would be if tomorrow you woke up and there was just no media? No news media, none, zero, gone. No CNN, no MSNBC, no Rachel Maddow, no Fox, no Morning Joe, no anchors, no Fox and Friends, no pundits, no Chad Prather. Chad Prather can't even bring you the news anymore. Just gone. All of it, one fell swoop, like it never existed in the first place. You know what I think would happen? I think life would go on. I think we would learn to talk to each other again. Life in America would be radically different in a lot of ways. Some of it would be bad. You wouldn't get all the information, but a ton of the benefits would be really, really good. But life would go on. Now, the reason I want to give you that little hypothetical thing and the reason that hit my brain is because let me unpack for you what's going on in the media right now. We talk about NPR, we talk about social media, but let's put it under the microscope a little bit. All right, what is it that a multifaceted entity like the news media actually does? What do they do? How is it that something we could all do without if we had to, nevertheless commands such a dominance over our lives that we consume it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week as a collective? We just literally turn our brains over to it. I said back when Ted Turner launched CNN years ago, even when I was a kid, I said there's going to be a 24-hour news channel. I literally said this. I said this to my brother. Back then, I said, what happens when they run out of news to tell? I was a kid, and I was smart enough to know where the problem was going to be. When they run out of news to tell, they're going to make stuff up. They're going to come up with stories that aren't really news at all because they have to fill the time slot. So, but what does the media do? What does it really do? Where does its power come from? I mean, we've all heard the term state-run media, right? You talk about NPR, perfect example. Now, I'm 51 years old. If you're anywhere near my age, you spent your, ball-dropping years learn about how things go down in communist countries, what propaganda is, how it comes to be disseminated among the proletariat for purposes of mind control. Vladimir Lenin, Pravda, all that comes to mind. So, here we're living in this morally crazy world of the in-control leftists, and, all of that crap that they spew rolls downhill that far exceeds proportionally the stuff rolling uphill. So our brains are literally in the gutter. So we could take a look at the media in our own country and ask ourselves, what's going on? What's going on? You have to know that it's not possible to get much more in the pocket of the tyrannical arm of the government than to be in the mainstream media these days. You're literally the mouthpiece for bureaucrats. Even Fox News, nobody's innocent on that. Because I know people say, oh, you conservatives, y'all just watch, Fox News. No, I don't. But even when they use they talk about being fair and balanced. Even they've succumbed to the waves of ethical and systemic erosion over the years. So you ain't got to look that far back to see that network changing into an environment which apparently is, setting its marching cadence to the beat of a drum from higher up, from the money people, from the cabal, from the elites, from the power folks. That's why. What do you think happened when Tucker Carlson got a little too close to the truth on things like, January 6th, started releasing videos, started having interviews? They buried him deeper than Jimmy Hoffa. But he went out independent, and guess what? Now he's bigger than he's ever been in his life. He's one of the biggest in the world. So, the state doesn't want that information getting out. That's why it's so important that if you appreciate the words of people like me, or again, I was on with Stu Peters or Tucker Carlson or anybody that has a podcast, you need to go out there, search their name every now and then and wake those algorithms up. Pay attention, share these shows, and talk about it with your friends and family. Because, again, they're just going to do everything they can. If you think it's bad now, it's going to get worse. Anybody out there telling the truth? Oh, no. No. It ain't enough for me to go out and do my research. You get online and people say, well, I need a source for that. What they're talking about is they want the AP. They want the NPR article. They want, something from the Atlantic. Oh, my God, it's all biased. It's all state-run, guys. And so now everybody's brainwashed. There's no critical thinking anymore. There's no critical thinking. So here we are. What do we take from all of this stuff? I'll tell you the biggest thing I want you to do. I want you to take the idea of political correctness and this idea that you have to speak what you're allowed to speak, and I want you to flush it down the toilet. And I want you to speak truth. I do. So many examples. For instance, if you say somebody's fat because they're fat, guess what? They're fat. It's just, oh, you're fat shaming. No, I'm just telling you you're fat. I'm just telling you that, if you're 100 pounds overweight, you got comorbidities, you probably have diabetes, you have poor circulation, your heart's not in good shape, your liver is overtaxed, you're in trouble. I'm just telling you you're fat. You need to lose weight. Now, we all could, shape it up a little bit. But this whole idea that I can't tell you the truth, or you can't tell me the truth because it might hurt my fees, is garbage. Now we have to do body positivity. What the F is body positivity? I ain't positive about my own damn body. What? Unless you are Chris Hemsworth or something like that, he probably got some insecurities too. But what am I supposed to do? Just go around and affirm your fat ass all the time? I'm not going to do it, because I'm not going to lie to you to make you feel good about yourself. You say, well, you can't say things like that. Yes, I can. Sarah Gonzalez and I would laugh all the time. It's like if our text messages ever got out, nobody'd ever want to have anything to do with us ever again. Actually, a lot of you probably would. Like that's the kind of conversation most of you, I think, would actually enjoy, because we're dead level honest about stuff. We don't mince words on the whole thing. So stop. Stop worrying about other people's feelings. And for the love of God, please stop worrying about other people's rejection. Life's going to go on. If the media goes away, life goes on. If podcasting goes away, life goes on. If social media goes away, you guys do remember 20 years ago when we didn't have social media and we didn't walk around with our face down in a screen 24 hours a day, poisoning our brain with a total stranger's opinion of how the world should work. And, getting somebody, I ate the piece of steak on the video. Somebody said, chew with your mouth closed. Fuck you. No. I'm making a funny point here. Get over it. And so it's like, then the guy wants to turn it into some big argument. And I'm like, all I responded to you with was no. What do you want me to do? Go back in time and make the video over again just to make you happy, dude? No. That's the way it was. It came out funny, and that was the whole point. It was my sarcastic view of a stupid attack that I got from the PETA people, And so, whatever. But am I supposed to be concerned about some stranger's opinion of my life? I had somebody the other day who said, you were a lot better back when you were married and before you got with this girl. And I'm like, who is this person? Like, I don't know you. You don't know how my life was 5-10 years ago. You have no idea what I lived with, dealt with. You have no idea. You don't have a clue what I was going through in my life, what triggered something. I don't know you. So therefore, you don't have the investment in me to be able to have an opinion that matters. Well, then why are you talking about it right now? Because it's fun and it makes a point. You remember the video I did years ago about eating the greasy, nasty biscuit? I'd gone into the convenience store. I'd gone to the gas station. I was on the road. And against my better judgment, it's always against our better judgment when we go in that little hot box, and open the little glass doors in a gas station and pull a biscuit out with God knows whatever squirrel mystery meat is in that thing. And then we're going to go out there and actually put it in our mouth, chew it and swallow it and digest whatever garbage the delivery guy brought out there that morning, or it could have been last week. Who knows when that sausage biscuit was made or who made it, for crying out loud. But we do it. And I took a bite of the thing, and I was like, this is disgusting. I'm not eating it. Threw it in the sack, put it in the floorboard, tossed it in the trash when I got somewhere. I made a video about that. And I said, when I took a bite out of that thing, I didn't rush back in to the clerk who was working in the convenience store and say, how dare you sell me a nasty biscuit? Why didn't you taste this first? Why didn't you stop me before I gave you my money? Why didn't you warn me that this thing was probably going to taste like pure trash? No, I just drove on. I was like, you know what? And tomorrow I'll probably get another stupid, nasty biscuit from a different gas station because I'm hungry and I just happen to see that and it's appealing to me. It's like a little dangling fruit and I just go get it. And I'll probably say that one's nasty too. But again, I won't storm back in and blame the guy working behind the counter. I'm just like, it's a nasty biscuit. And I move on with my life. These days, people go online, they're eating the nasty biscuit, and then they're bitching about the nasty biscuit. You're the one who made the freaking choice to put it in your mouth. You're the one who's choosing to consume this stuff. You're the one. So if you come across my page or my podcast or something like that, and I'm saying something you don't like, hey, I'm just a nasty biscuit. Toss me in the trash, and let's move on with life. There's other podcasts out there. It's a great big internet, man. I'm sure you can find another retarded person who'll say the things that you want to hear. Oh my God, he said the word retarded. It's actually a good word. And I'm not referring to people who have mental handicaps either, or little children or something like that. No, it's actually a good word. They have retarded their intelligence to the point where their brains are in the gutter and have been flushed so that critical thought is a foreign concept to them. And it's like something that came from another planet. I mean, they're running away from common sense. Common sense trying to catch them. But they're beating common sense like a boy on a track meet against the girls. Just outrunning intelligence, man. Well, Shy, I said I didn't know what I want to talk about today, but here we are. Here we are. I hate political correctness. I really do, man. And it just pisses me off to no end. Yeah. Well, I love you guys. I really do, man. And that felt good. That felt good just to get a little bit of that off my chest. Yeah, Shy. Poor Shy has to sit over there and listen to that in his headphones. I appreciate y'all. WatchChad.com is where all the fun stuff is. PratherTees.com. Use promo code CHAD30. Hey, don't leave just yet. I want to say something. Our Patriot Wellness Box, CJ and I, we're part of Melaleuca. We shop with Melaleuca. A lot of you are with Melaleuca, y'all. And I don't think publicly we're even supposed to use the word Melaleuca. So I'm not promoting anything. I'm just telling you I shop with Melaleuca. If you're curious about what that is and you don't know, you can shoot me a message. I'll be glad to talk to you about it. Jump on my Facebook, send me a private message. I'll talk to you about it. Or CJ will, one or the other. But I had this great idea because they send you, a box. Melaleuca is a company out of Idaho. All their products are natural. They're safe. All their products. So the stuff you're buying at Walmart or, Costco, Sam's, stuff you're buying at the big box stores like Target, and you don't agree with the way they do things, or stuff's coming, from all over the world, you want to shop, with Patriots, American-made stuff. Melaleuca is a good alternative. So all of my bathroom stuff, all of my cleaning stuff, my toothpaste, my soaps, everything. Stuff I, buy on a monthly basis. It shows up in a box. I had this great idea. Because, sometimes I'll get more stuff than I need. I was like, you know what? I'm for lack of better terms, I'm a prepper. I'm a guy who has stuff setback in case of a rainy day, or let's say COVID hits and there's no toilet paper on the shelf. I like to make sure I got stuff. So I started thinking about stuff that we don't think about, because, we got My Patriot Supply and all those guys. You got your food, but what about things like your toothpaste? What about things like extra toothbrushes? What about things like contact lenses? Like with me, I just bought another year's supply of contact lenses because of, things get bad. That's not something you just run out there and go get. And so I was thinking with Melaleuca, I was like, there were so many things that I started shopping with Melaleuca and buying stuff from them just so I could store it and stockpile it. And it's going to come in every month anyway. And I was like, anyway. So I want you to consider stuff like that. The stuff that you're going to need, but maybe you're not thinking about it. And hey, if you want to be a part of Melaleuca, we don't push it too hard as a business, but you can make money with it, because if you have people that shop under you, you make money off of what they shop with. But I just want to toss that out there, because I just ran across that Melaleuca box downstairs, and I was like, yeah, because I got bars of soap and toothpaste and wet wipes and things like that. Stuff you might want, if the rapture happens and you miss the boat and you're stuck down here with all these other hellions, you might want to have some supplies on hand, okay, for the apocalypse. Just a little something for the apocalypse, that's all. Down here with all of our collectivist thought and our political correctness. Oh, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. All right, guys, watchchad.com is where the fun stuff is. Leave us a rating and review. Please drop your email address at thechadprathershow.com so you can be a part of our weekly newsletter. On behalf of Shy and all the guys at Mission Studios, we love you. Don't use terms like illegal alien in your essays, kids. You'll get suspended. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.